Say hello to my slat wall. I made this slat wall a couple of years ago, so I think it's a good time to review the slat wall, talk about how it helps me organize my craft items, some tips and tricks regarding the construction, anything that I feel like would be helpful for you if you decide to make one of these too. So let's get up close. The first thing I'll talk about is the construction of this slat wall. I filmed another video, which I'll link you to, that shows the construction of the slat wall, but essentially, it is not very complicated at all. So I have 5 vertical furring strips that are attached via wood screws to the studs. And then horizontally is where I have pine boards. Here's an example of a horizontal slat attached to the furring strip, which is attached to the stud via a wood screw. That's a 3-inch wood screw. You'll see that I have varying sizes of the horizontal ones. These are 1x4s. This is a 1x2, 1x2, and a 1x3. So I have those sizes across mine. I've seen most people stick with this size only. They'll do 1x2s and they'll do the whole wall, top to bottom, with 1x2s. I chose to do something different. As you can see, I have 3 different sizes on my slat wall, and that's something I really liked and what really appealed to me about constructing this on my own, which is to be able to, have some fun with it. And I really encourage you to do that yourself. If you're going to customize this, basically, feel free to have some fun with it and mix up sizes. Don't do the same thing over and over if you don't want to. When I was trying to decide what size horizontal strips to put on here, I came up with a lot of ideas. Too many ideas, actually. In my blog post, I should mention that. In my blog post, I wrote down a lot of the different patterns that I was going to think about doing. So for example, for mine, my pattern is the 1x2, 1x2, 1x3, 1x4, and then 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And that's a repeat pattern that goes top to bottom for me. So the first thing I'll mention, construction-wise, the construction method, I would definitely recommend it. Using the furring strips to attach to the studs, and then the horizontal pine boards to be the things that your attachments hang on to. I would recommend that method of construction for sure. Speaking of organization, moving into that part of this video, you're going to need to come up with your own organizational solutions, because the pre-made, prefabricated slat wall systems won't work for these, because these boards are too thick for what most of the slat wall companies provide. So you're gonna have to make your own, but again, the customization of it I thought was a plus for me. So I was willing to forego the convenience of a pre-made slat wall system, organization system, in favor of the customization of my own. Another thing that I'll mention that I wanted to prioritize when I made this was the modularity of it, which obviously is a whole appeal of doing a slat wall or a pegboard. You get to organize it in the way that you want to, and you'll be able to move it whenever you want. Which brings me to my next item. I had wanted to do something like this. I had wanted to use this as a shelf for my slat wall. So I wanted shelves in my slat wall, and my idea, which failed, was to be able to do something like this, where I could just push it in between the slats, and I thought it would stay and be able to hold something. Now, for a period of time, I did do it. I did do it a little bit lower down here. You can see here, with this, some of the space down here, I had previously used it to hold these shelves. So this shelf at a period of time did stick into some of these slats, but the problem was that it was only in certain areas. So as much as I measured in between these slats, they're not perfect. The space in between, as straight as pine boards are, they're not going to be completely straight. There is going to be some warp and some bend to them. So I found myself not being able to put the shelf just anywhere. And in some instances, it was a little too loose, and then it was flopping down a little bit. I used it for a short period of time, but after how many times, maybe like the 4th time something fell off of it, I decided to just forgo it. So if you do want a shelf, I would highly recommend you have to screw it in. And you could do it in a variety of ways. You could use those like L-shaped, I have some right here. You could do it using these, these L-shaped ones to hold up the shelves. Or you could put in another, you know, something underneath, something else underneath to hold it in. But if you're going to do shelves on a slat wall like this, I would highly recommend you adhere it. Again, because I wanted to be able to make this modular and move it around a lot, I didn't want something so permanent on mine, so I didn't go with the shelves. I forewent the shelves in favor of these wire baskets, which is what I'll go into next. I essentially created kind of my own system for the slat wall, which consists of hooks. So hooks are my best friend. Here are my collection of hooks. I have these S hooks, which I was experimenting with here. And then I also have these, which are flatter on the top. They're still curved at the bottom, and they come in like two attached to each other. And that combined with a mesh basket such as this one creates my basket. So basket on a hook, essentially. This one has it already attached. This is one unit and it already has the hook on it. The biggest tip I have for anybody looking to create their own slat wall shelf organizer using the hooks and basket method is you have to search for over the cabinet door hooks. If you use the standard hooks that just go over any door, those are going to be too big because those are 1 inch. What you need, because these slats are, they are the 1x2s, the 1x3s, and 1x4s, they are actually 3/4 of an inch wide up here or deep up here. So you need something that only is 3/4 of an inch deep here. So it'll actually fit it. The 1 inch ones will be too long. So anything that is meant to go over the cabinet door is good for your slat wall. So let's look at some more of the items. This one is for my sewing spools, my sewing thread. And here you can see that those are on the hooks as well. I just put those on. Again, these being over cabinet door hooks. This is another version of it. After I had bought a couple, I had eventually settled on like these wire mesh baskets, which is what I wanted to, I feel like that's the biggest tip I have for anybody who wants to create something like this, to be using these types of hooks and the mesh baskets, the wire baskets. That combination has worked really well for me. So another thing that I wanted to mention, something that I had to kind of configure on my own, was when I got my new craft table and I wanted to hang my self-healing cutting mat, which is this one right here. I ran into, I don't want to say it was an issue, just something else to troubleshoot. I was having a hard time with this hook. So if this is the S hook that goes like this, I was having trouble fitting it in. Anyway, what I ended up doing was turning the S hook upside down, looping it through the hole, and then hooking a hook onto a hook. So I think that doing something custom like this requires a little bit of ingenuity sometimes, and just being willing to just use things that aren't traditionally meant to be used for it, trying to find other solutions for when you want something to work and it could absolutely work. So I would highly recommend something like this. So the next thing I want to do to up-level this for myself is to capitalize on the space up there. I had used it as decorative elements. I had originally thought of it being a decorative element, but I think I could actually use it. Plus, I kind of need the space now that my hobbies have grown, and maybe I just needed to get a step ladder because I have 9-foot ceilings. So I don't really know how else I would be able to get up there without a ladder, but that's what I want to do next. And I bought some more items, some more mesh baskets, and I think we'll do that next. And we're back, albeit at a different angle with some setup that I've done since we last saw each other 2 seconds ago. What I did here was, well, I got my step stool because I knew I'd want to reach up there. And then I've also unboxed everything I got from Amazon. So these items up here, the baskets and the hooks and everything, those are a couple of years old. Here are my latest acquisitions. These are the same as these. I liked them, so I got some more of them to play around with. I think these here are the same ones or similar to, let's see. I think these are, I got some repeats as I knew what I liked already. Yeah, these are these ones. And then these are new, the ones over here. This basket, it was a 2-in-1. It intrigued me because it has these dividers in it, which I thought would be really useful. It's a really good size. It's probably my biggest one out of the ones that I have. This one, I don't know if I'm sold on it yet, which is why I haven't completely cut off all the tags, but it has a sloped feature. It's smaller than these, which I knew, so I didn't know. I kind of had to get it and my plan was to put them up here and see how I like it. The other thing I got was these hooks. These are different than the ones I have currently. They have the flat tops on them, like one of my hooks. It also has a lot more space at the bottom here because so it's kind of what I'm hoping is the best of both worlds for the hooks that I currently have. So this one is the S hook, not flat on top, which I don't really care about, but I don't feel like there's a lot of space here for me to hang things. So that was a limitation of this S hook. And then this one I liked. I also feel like this one looks cleaner with the flat top, but I liked the fact that this was bigger. This hook part was bigger. The J part of the hook was bigger. But I didn't always love the fact that there was 2 hooks in one. I think sometimes it's really convenient. Other times it's more limiting, or I feel like it's a waste. So I'm hoping that the other one that I got, the latest one that I got here, is the best of both worlds. So what I want to do is kind of be better at organizing. My paper crafting supplies are mostly over here. My fabric and my sewing is over here. So I'm thinking like that could be the natural progression for the slat wall and the organization of it. I'm kind of there, like this stuff here is my paper crafting, you know, and then we kind of get into threads and yarn. I have a lot more yarn, which is kind of the whole reason I need to reorganize my slat wall and add more of these baskets, is because of my yarn. I have more paper crafting here, and then there's a little bit of a mix of paper crafting and sewing over here. So I think my next step here is to kind of really solidify on the space that I have, meaning I think I want to fold these up and store them. These are more of these thread holders that I hung up here, but I still have a lot of space up here. I'm gonna keep this one, and I think I'm just gonna store these two until I need them, which will free up this space. And then for the space up here that I want to use, I had previously, because I knew I couldn't reach it without a stepladder, so when I first created this, I simply used the top, or I thought of the top as a more decorative space. So I hung necklaces that my dog groomer gives the dogs when she grooms them. But I think that I'm gonna go ahead and shake things up a little bit, take those down, and repurpose that space and store the necklaces instead to maybe use for another project. So the next step here is for me to take these down and take those down as well. So let me get to it. Look at all that empty space we can play with. Not to mention, there's some space down here that I don't know. I'm torn about putting things below kind of this height because my dog gets into them so easily. So if I want to use that space down there, I just have to create a barrier for the dog, which is also totally an option. I don't know. I think I'm going to try to go up high first, and then if I really need it, maybe I'll go lower. So let me play around with some of my new toys, put them up there, and see how I like them. This one is the one with the different compartments on the inside. I was thinking that I could just throw yarn balls in here, kind of organize them either by color or by yarn type. It does stick out a lot. It is really big. I wonder if I should just put that one on the bottom or closer to the ground. This is what this looks like from different angles. I like that one though. I actually think I'm gonna keep that one. So here it is moved lower. I really want to see how it would look. I like it a lot better lower. And now we run into the problem of the fact that my dog loves yarn and will absolutely take any opportunity to grab a yarn ball in his mouth. So I don't know if I'll keep it here and maybe just deal with it being up there, or committing to building a barrier around here, making sure he can't get into it. But I do like it here. I can see myself it just being a lot more convenient to grab a ball of yarn and to be able to see them all at this level at my height. So I think I'm gonna continue to play around with the different combinations. I admit, I think it'll be easier once I put, I'm trying to think of how to do this. I think it would be easier if I put my items in to the baskets and then try to sort through how they would look best on this wall. So make sure you're subscribed, because my next video is going to be about all of these. This was the inspiration behind why I needed more space on my slat wall. I have so much yarn here and my ongoing project. There's yarn here, there's yarn in here. There's actually yarn in this one as well. There's more yarn here. I mean, I need to store this somewhere. So I feel like it'd be easier if I put this yarn inside these baskets and then determined which was best to go where around here. I think I'll make that my next video. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel so you can see when that gets uploaded. Let me know how you like my slat wall, if you're thinking about doing the same, and if you found my tips useful, and I will catch up with you in my next video. Bye.